أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. My dear respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. You really have to give Shireen another round of applause. I mean, it's not easy to speak to you. Really. Like, I speak in different audiences. Muslims are by far the hardest audience to speak to. I'm serious. This is called, which section of the program is this called? Is it what? Young professionals, right? So when you stand up, mashallah, how old is he? No, I know. How old is he? 6, mashallah. So when you stand up and you see like a 6-year-old or like a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old, you're like, how is this message going to go? Right? So we'll do it. And I want to start by thanking the Muslim American Society, because mashallah tabarakallah, their program committee, I work closely with them throughout the planning for all of this, and it's really amazing to see it all come together, and then to come to see all of you here attending at a 10 a.m. session. Like, it's always the one where everyone, like, I wonder if anyone will show up, except for the people in the 7th row who are first-timers, like the 3 there. They raised their hands, like, we're the first time here. They showed up on time, mashallah. We should give them a round of applause, yeah, for showing up on time, alhamdulillah. And it wouldn't be complete if Shireen was trying to give a small talk, and then she got interrupted, and a big guy just shows up behind her. She was like, I'm sorry, what? Did I park my car wrong? Are you going to tow it? You know, what's going on? So she did all of it. And I would say the most harrowing moment of public speaking was when I finished the Jummah khutbah, and they had an elected official or someone who was running for office come to our masjid, and there he was standing there, and he was already nervous because, you know, people have no like sense of boundary or etiquette. Like, he's standing there and they introduce him, they're like, he's running for office, and people want to show that it's time to pray sunnah. So like in front of him, they're like, Allah. And he's like 5 feet away from them, and he's like, what do I do now? They're praying right in front of me. And then if that wasn't enough, they hadn't told me or him that there was going to be a janazah. So as he's speaking, suddenly the crowd just parts, like the Musa alayhi salam and then the river, and then this like casket is brought up, and he's just like freaks out. He's like, and that's why I'm running for office. It's like, you know, is that for me? Like, am I supposed to die? Is my career ending here? Like with this last speech, subhanAllah. So you're not an easy group to talk to or to deal with. So may Allah bless you. Thank you for being who you are, and inshallah we'll improve and keep improving. The topic, as was introduced, is basically saying that, look, every single one of us has some talent, some gift, some blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us. And the fact that we're sitting here in this room on a Friday morning, and we've left home, and we've, whether from Chicago or from wherever else, and we're here, we're already blessed. We're already blessed. I mean, if you look at some of the masajis who have programs to visit the sick, look at what they're going through. SubhanAllah, some people have gone to bed and they've woken up with an illness that they didn't know that they had. And then now the rest of their life the trajectory is completely shifted. In our community in Virginia, just last week, we got the news of a 25-year-old, fairly healthy young man, goes to bed at night, wakes up, doesn't wake up, literally died in his sleep, right? So we're awake, we're breathing, right? We're here. So whatever it is that's going to be troubling you or that is already troubling you, all we're saying is that take it easy. Don't be so tough on yourself. Don't be so tough on your relationship with Allah and starting to blame either Allah, your parents, yourself for all of what you think is not working out. Think about all of what is working out. And I said literally that breathing, just breathing, and being alive and being able to take in everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us is something phenomenal. What I want to do for the first minute is for you to just close your eyes. Just close your eyes, and I'm going to ask you to think, as you close your eyes, to think of one thing that you think you did without any involvement or any help from anyone else. So let's leave Allah in another realm because of gratitude to Allah, but just think of one thing. Is there one thing that you think that you did that didn't involve any help or involvement from anyone else. All right? No, come back. One of the little kids asked his dad, "Why do you always tell me not to talk in Jummah khutbah? Is that because I shouldn't wake up the people who are sleeping?" Ya Allah help us. So does anybody want to volunteer? Like, what, did you think of something? Did something come? La hawla wala quwwata. You actually found something? No, I'm just joking. Go ahead, sir. Yes. I wasn't going to go there, but yeah. Yeah, that's not what, what came to mind. But yeah. But somebody made those clothes. Someone taught you to put on one pant sleeve after the other, correct? Yes or no? Because have you seen, we have kids, we have 4 kids, mashallah. I've seen one of them stuck in the one sleeve of the pants. Have you not seen this? Like, is this only my family? Because I know we're strange, but I mean, right? So somehow you were socialized into that and then you followed, right? So anyone else? Yes? What was it? Say nothing. You would say nothing? Well, you're not going to say anything?
No, I'm saying like you have to.
No, I know what you mean. It's awkward, right? You're like, what? Yeah, nothing. That's the answer. The answer is nothing. Are you from Chicago or New Jersey? Chicago. Because New Jersey people, anywhere I go, I ask them questions, like deep questions, they give one-word answers. I don't know what it is about New Jersey. Like one-word answers. I'm like, seriously, like what's going on here? Let's build it out. All right. So the reason I did that is because I think what's going to happen, we're in America at a time in American history and then Muslim American history, whereby so much advancement has taken place that it is very possible for someone to wake up, come to their senses, and think that all of what we have already existed. That in Chicago, for example, there must be at least 100 or 200 masajid that we know of. But only 30, 40 years ago, people were struggling to make 1 masjid, 2 masjid, 3, and on and on and on. So if you grow up now and you're 3, 4, 5 years old and you're with your parents, it's Jummah prayer, it's feasible that you think a community just came into existence, like, just add water, and then just masajids appeared, and you could go to anywhere within 5 to 10 minutes driving of the other community, and you could be there. It's possible that you also think that your parents, and some people have grandparents in America, were already here, we're always here, and things just happen without any sacrifice from anyone and any effort at anyone to struggle through it and make it. So when we turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we begin with our reference point, which is the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we start to realize that throughout the Quran, there is an effort by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to create a social order that is built on the fact that the highest of entities, if you will, in that social order is who? Is who? In that whole social order. Who is the highest of all things in our life? Pretty straightforward, people. No, I'm a professor, so this is worrying me. So it's Allah. Let's say it again. It's who? Allah, right? And that happens throughout the Quran. Why? Because human beings have the tendency of becoming completely delusional. That we just think we can do it all. We think we don't need anyone. And in fact, the idea of leaving Allah out of it becomes when you start worshiping things that are in your control or in your power, which is what? Then you start making idols. Because I can make that and I can worship it. I can actually turn to an idol and begin to worship it and ask it for help, because reaching out to an unseen God is too big. It's too, it's incomprehensible to me. So when Allah sends prophets, all of them are there to do recalibration of that GPS. Because the human tendency in our GPS is to go towards what is most convenient. It is most convenient for me to praise myself and those around me for what I accomplished. But it is least convenient or incomprehensible to thank a deity whom I do not see, an unseen God. So Musa alayhi salam, all of the miracles that occurred in his life, it is there for people to remind that it is not he who is doing anything. He is doing it by the will of. So the Baptists have this tradition to keep the audience awake. It's called call and response. The Egyptian imams do the same thing, right? They know that it's Qul hu Allahu ahad, but they just go Qul hu Allahu Yeah, and you guys are not Egyptian, many of you, clearly. You're like, Ahad, I guess? I don't know, right? You're the speaker, right? So I'm saying that Musa alayhi salam, the gratitude he would want to give, the blessings he had was that he was being endowed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a prophet. But when he comes to the river to split it, did he just stand there and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala splits the river? What happens? What does he have to do? He has to take his staff, which is a stick, and do what with it? To strike the body of water. Why would that be needed, man? You're going to be splitting the whole body of water. Why is that needed? Because human beings have to exert effort, the best effort, ihsan, and then leave it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Are you following what I'm saying? Leave the results to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now we don't know if he did like a light strike. We don't know if he there's an army behind me. Like if he did that, we don't know. We just know he was told to do some effort. Isa alayhi salam, same thing. All of the medical miracles beginning with his birth. And it's an amazing season to be discussing that. And of course the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. All of them were reminded about the mercy of Allah, the plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the benevolence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the amazingly all-forgiving nature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you and I think of that we are because He is, we have to start thinking about who we are and what have we become. Who we are and what have we become. Even the Prophet ﷺ, when he became the Prophet of Allah, had absolutely no idea that we know of, no documented evidence to show that he had any premonition that he was going to be the Prophet of Allah. And yet, when he became the Prophet of Allah and revelation is beginning, he's starting to now question and doubt himself. Like, what is this? I don't know this experience. Allah has selected him as the Prophet of Allah, but he doesn't know yet what all of that will mean. So the Quran becomes a reassurance to him. The Quran becomes a source of encouragement for him. The Quran becomes a source of history, chronology, of events, of all of the things that he is to learn now. What doesn't he know how to do as the Quran is being revealed? What are the things that you would think, this is a book, you have to know how to read the book, but he's what? He doesn't know how to read or write. He doesn't know how to read or write. And the miracle is going to be what? That he's going to be receiving a book that is going to be read throughout time. And indeed we are now 1452 some years because of the start of Revelation, although our Hijrah years are different. And we're still reading the book. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then takes him through this reassurance mode of you are because He is. وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى وَلَلْآخِرَةُ what? خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. That was revealed at a time when he was starting to doubt himself. Revelation had stopped. What should happen? Was it just like a phase? Was I just getting was I really like in a good Wi-Fi spot? Like the file started to download and then everything freaks out. I'm like, oh my God, what just happened? Right? What's going on with my phone? What's wrong with my phone? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to him what? That the akhirah is much better for you. Don't worry. But then where does he go after that? Alam yajidka yatiman fa'awa. You're now the Prophet of Allah. We know who you are. We found you as an orphan, O Muhammad, and we took care of you. We found you as an orphan and we took care of you. That he cannot deny in a human moment, because what? What is known about him? He never saw his father. What is known about him? His mother passed away at the age of 6. What is known about him? He was taken care of by his grandfather and his uncles, and then he married young at the age of 25 to someone much older, and then that became a loving and caring relationship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, it seems to you that we've forgotten you or forsaken you, and this is somehow odd to you, but don't worry. Why? We know who you are. We found you as an orphan, and we took care of you. We took care of you. So, think about that quality. What is that quality that you've been given? I can't imagine there's a single person in this room who, if we took like an audit of, which we should do in every masjid, by the way, Every masjid should have a full audit. Financial, yes, that's for governance and all that, but an audit of who is in our community. Who is in our community? Oftentimes we sit there struggling with the sound system, and there's like electrical engineers, sound engineers. They're just sitting there going, these jokers. Right? I can't believe that they don't realize that if you stand with a microphone under a speaker, there's going to be feedback, and you get the in the middle of the khutbah, and everyone's like, can you please not wake me up? I'm trying to rest, right? There's medical doctors, social workers, journalists, accountants, right? They put up this, fundraising event, and then they put up this, this is our balance sheet, and it just shows like expenses and income, and then that's it. People are like, mashallah, how long did you spend on that slide, right? No details, nothing about how things are being spent, where the money is going, and yet there are accountants in the community, right? There are people who are teachers, who could actually teach some people who are khatibs on the art of delivering the khutbah. Yeah, they're teachers who could do that. That's what they do. They're coaches for public speaking, coaches for life, coaches. We don't know who they are. We don't know what their blessings are, their benefits are. So what do we do with that? What do we do with that? Well, it does matter that, as Shireen said, that you live without this for a little bit daily. That you actually reflect and say, where are my strengths? And then can I build on those? What are my weaknesses, and can I improve on those? The Prophet ﷺ led many of the armies into battle. Many of them. The ghazawat that we know about, the battles that we know of, among them, by the way, he was not a military strategist. But he knew people who had that talent. He knew people who were blessed with that quality. Khalid ibn Walid, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, was a very young person, brilliant war strategist, brilliant. So if you go to people who know, they may be young, you may be young, and you may know certain things. You may be young and know certain things, but our culture starts to create this sense of superiority that says, only the adults, only the older. So the high school, the college kids are saying, we know, you don't. Right? To the graduate students, they look at the undergrads like, you're clueless, we're the graduate students, we got it all. To the professionals, they look at the graduate students like, you don't even have a clue, we know it all. And it just keeps going on and on and on. And yet, if you are fair, if you are just, if you are aware, then you know that sometimes the skills and talents can come, sometimes, in the youngest of the young and the oldest of the old. The oldest of the old. And we have examples of this throughout not only the seerah, but even in American and modern history. Think about what this means. Think about how you will show gratitude. What will be the one thing you will do out of this? Because all these conference sessions are going to mean nothing if we just treat them as entertainment. We just came, we enjoyed a little bit, a few things, then we left. And then no change occurred from last convention to this convention. In fact, even later today should be better than now, because we've already started to learn certain things, reminders to each other, and so on and so forth. So when we say you are because He is, we're not just saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all of His glory gave us all the talents and skills that we have. We're saying now, how can I start to use this to the benefit of the community? How can I? This is not showing off. Don't consider, sometimes shaitan comes and says, oh, stop like showing off and like putting yourself out there. Look at this. Look at the situation of the ummah. Look at our condition. Do you think anybody's going to mind if you step up and try to help improve some of the issues we're facing in our masjid, in our youth groups, in our communities, in our families? Do you think anyone should have a problem? If they do, then it's their problem. Their heart has a problem. Because if you have the skill sets, if you know what you need to do. Abu Dhar Ghifari radiallahu ta'ala anhu was an amazing companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He went to the Prophet ﷺ and he said, yeah, Prophet, I want to be appointed as a governor, because the Muslims, the rule of the Muslims and even just our existence was expanding into different lands. And he looked at him, a beloved companion of his, and he looked at him and he said, Ya Abu Dhar, this is a heavy trust. You want to be a governor? It's a heavy trust. It becomes a sign or an avenue of disgrace for someone, except for those who take it by right and fulfill it. What was he saying? He was saying, I love you, you can do other things, but this is not for you. And then yet he appoints Khalid ibn Abi Walid to become the what? The strategist of war, because he understands who he is. He understands what he's able to do. And this, by the way, extends into gender as well. We've relegated talent as if somehow it's only the realm of men. And that committees can be formed and we don't even think about, making a new masjid. And the community doesn't even think about, should we at least have like representation of the genders for them to be able to give some, because if nothing else, some of the colors of the masjids would be like improved and look beautiful, right? Because I was like, how did you guys choose this carpeting? Like every time I'm about to go down, I feel like I'm gonna, right? And yeah, that has some feelings, right? Like, who chose this? Like, oh, mashallah, Yaqeen, we were sitting there and we had this amazing vision, Ba'd al-Fajr. I go, what did you eat before the vision? And how much did you eat, right? Because if you involve other people of different races and backgrounds and genders, then you're starting to get what? All of the beautiful blessings and qualities that Allah has blessed everyone with, and then they come together. We don't have to agree. We can discuss and debate and so on and so forth. So in closing, it's going to get worse before it gets better in America, and you know it. I'm not telling you something new. We're going to need all hands on deck, and this is that moment right now. Everybody who is within the Muslim community is going to have to step up and say, what can I do? What is my share in this? What did Allah bless me with? Not everybody can speak. Not everybody, well, in the sense of public speaking. Not everybody can write well. Not everybody can, become any profession you want to choose. But all of us have some way to contribute. And we will have to be tough with each other. We'll have to be respectful with each other. We'll have to be encouraging with each other. We'll have to be helpful with each other. We'll have to use our networks well. LinkedIn, for example, is a phenomenal thing. But how well are we using it to say, I'm finding people, young and old and others, who have these beautiful talents and they can help us. Why? Because the gratitude is to Allah that He blessed us with these people. That they're able to do what they're able to do, and then let us do it well. Let us get together and then improve the conditions. So bottom line is, there's nothing, as someone said, that we can just do by ourselves. Everything we do is because someone taught us, and then they were taught by someone, and then the one who were taught by them, we're always grateful that they were the first, if you will, pioneers to have learned that and then to transmit it. Second thing, identify your talents. Identify what is good. What is it that's good that you can do? Don't be harsh on yourself. There's something, and I can sit with you guys I've done it with so many people for career counseling and whatnot, to figure out what is it that I'm going to do. Where am I going to use my talents and where am I going to use it well? And then lastly, let's start before the end of the weekend to identify others in our network. Who else is doing this? And MAS, I think, has even a gathering in the program for the professional network. Look for it in the book and on the app and see if you can go there. Go there with humility. Go there assuming that everybody else will have conquered and solved all of the problems, and then just show up. And ultimately you'll find out that we're all learning together. We all need to help each other out. We all need to begin by showing gratitude to Allah and then realizing that because it's an all hands on deck moment, that it can't be done except that you and I are going to have to step up. Inshallah, we'll leave some time for questions. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.